I think if you look at it, I think the generation, first of all, I think fundamentally, I think generation is different because I think the general perception to be a lot more environmentally cautious, I think that concept is much stronger than before to begin with. So, so everybody, I think if you look at it even from a jurisdiction, government standpoint, if you look at, private sector standpoint, even with some of the NGO standpoint, everybody, one way or the other, start touching on this topic. So now, with that as a base, of course, then people look into this particular topic. People will have a much higher correlation to this topic to begin with. So the concept, or the basic concept, or the awareness is there. So it makes life much easier, if you may, for us, because when we start introducing, green lighting, LED as a solution, people are a lot more, let's say, open-minded to receive some new ideas. I think the ROI actually is getting more and more attractive to begin with. When we introduce this ROI, it's not simply based on a product-to-product comparison. If you look at conventional lighting today compared to LED equivalent or better replacement, a lot of time people, perception is like, wow, LED is going to be a lot more expensive. But I think most of the time, I think the layman, let's say, concept should be with a 2-year return on investment. Now that 2-year return on investment sometimes can be better even, but I think 2 years is basically the cutting point for us as a business when we try to propose a lighting solution to our customer. But the key thing behind that ROI is a concept called total cost of ownership. And when I say total cost of ownership, that basically consists of several elements. First is the replacement. Well, the lifespan of LED lighting today, in our case, we spec at 35,000 hours. So lifespan for let's say I'll take a halogen lamp as an example. A halogen lamps, when you get off over the counter today, let's say a good brand product, you're looking at anything between 6,000 hours to 8,000 hours, lifespan. For a LED lighting product, as I said earlier, it was 35,000 hours. So if you do a rough calculation, that could be 6 times, 7 times already. Now, so that's one. Second of all, the energy savings. With the halogen lamps, the product I have in my hand today, right? So the ML16 replacement, as a halogen today, right now, the electricity, if we take this, compare with a 35 watt halogen lamp, this particular lamp consumes 3.5 watts electricity. So that's 90% savings on the electricity. Okay, so that I was saying, the replacement cost. I was saying, the electricity cost. Now, because the replacement was much less, then the labor on replacement costs become much less. And on top of that, because the temperature generated from this lamp is by far less than the conventional lighting. So on top of that, in an air conditioning environment, all of a sudden you save energy on air conditioning also, because your ambient temperature, is much lower than before. So around that concept, that's what we call total cost of ownership. Okay, so with that, you're saving. In this case, even with this product, we are now, in the Hong Kong market, we're doing a huge promotion now. And, the return on investment is down to, let's say, a couple months, 2-3 months. So it's not just about the tariff. And it's not just about, how you can actually, based on the tariff to do your actual return on investment. The calculations is actually, I wouldn't say is a complicated one, but it's actually a lot more well-rounded, than I think the generic. I think on top of what we just mentioned, right? I think of course energy saving, reducing CO2, emission, all that is part of this movement, if you may. People are switching from conventional lighting to this, of course, from a private sector standpoint. They're of course looking at bottom line. there are savings there. But at the same time, I think it's also part of the corporate responsibility. Okay, with that, all the private sector, including some of the government jurisdictions, they are actually adopting LED technology, green lighting, so that they are they're protecting the environment. They're doing their shares. If you look closer, sometimes I think some of the private sector also. On top of that is, of course, to boost up their corporate image. So that's also an added values to them. So, but for us, the fundamental, again, is today, there are a lot of people having a lot of misconception on green lighting and LED and the LED technology. And it all surrounded based on, it's not bright enough, the performance is not good. There isn't a whole lot of jurisdiction or third-party certification that people can rely on. Is the lifespan really 35,000 hours or more? Color temperature, is it good enough for people to project this light on an object or on a merchandise? But I think if you look around, some of these showcase today, I mean, all these elements or all these questions or all these misconceptions could be corrected.